quiet journey, the Philippines. Imagine yourself walking along a quiet beach just before sunrise, somewhere on a far island of the Philippines. The sand is soft beneath your feet, not dry but cool and damp, with the hush of dawn. Palm trees sway overhead, their shadows long and still. The sea, impossibly wide and impossibly gentle, reaches toward the shore in breaths rather than waves. It is not loud here. It is not still either. It is something else, alive and listening. You walk slowly. Behind you, the footprints you leave are quickly softened by wind and tide. Ahead of you, the light is just beginning to touch the world, not with fire, but with kindness. The clouds glow faintly rose and peach. Somewhere nearby, a rooster calls once, twice. A fisherman's boat creaks against the tide as he checks his nets, alone in the morning. You raise a hand to greet him. He smiles without words. This is how the day begins on the islands. With reverence, with quiet action, with the softness of lives deeply attuned to land and sea. There is no rush. There is rhythm. You follow a narrow path through a grove of coconut palms, where the air grows warmer and heavier, filled with the scent of wood smoke and wet earth. Somewhere in the distance, you hear a bamboo wind chime tapping softly in the breeze. A child laughs. A carabao snorts and shifts its weight as a farmer begins his day. The world is already awake, but gently so, as if all things agreed to ease into their own becoming. Soon you reach a small village, its houses built on stilts above the grass and water. Painted tin roofs catch the early light. Chickens scratch near doorsteps. Laundry flutters like flags in the breeze. A woman squats beside a fire, flipping rice cakes on a flat pan. You are offered one without hesitation. It tastes of coconut, brown sugar, and the warmth of home. In the Philippines, strangers are rarely strangers for long. You sit for a moment in the shade, listening to the gentle murmur of conversation. Tagalog, Bisaya, Ilocano, Kapampangan. Languages tumbling softly, sometimes mixing, always music. There's a softness to the way people speak here, a warmth. Words are shared like offerings. And then the church bells begin to ring, not loudly, not urgently, just enough to call the morning into its next breath. You follow a dusty road that winds through rice fields, where water mirrors the sky and the shoots of green bend gently in the wind. Children walk barefoot along the path, balancing books and umbrellas. One of them waves at you. You wave back. And for a moment, that is everything. Soon, the heat of the day rises slowly from the land. The sky turns a brilliant, cloudless blue, and the rice paddies shimmer like mirrors. In a nearby hut, a man sharpens a bolo knife with slow practiced strokes. A woman untangles a fishing net and hums softly, the same lullaby her mother sang to her. You continue down the path, past banana trees and sugar cane, and into the gentle arms of the day. You reach a town where the jeepneys begin to stir, painted in bold reds, yellows, and greens, with chrome grills and names etched across their windshields like poetry. God bless. Forever grateful. Lola's dream. You climb inside, seated beside a quiet boy and a basket of vegetables. The engine hums and rattles. Outside, the towns roll by like stories, sari-sari stores, school children in uniforms, a basketball court filled with barefoot boys. Life happens in motion. You stop in a market, alive with sound and scent, dried fish, mangoes piled high, bundles of kangkong, the sizzle of frying oil, the clatter of ice being shaved for halo-halo. Vendors call out gently. You are offered a slice of jackfruit, sweet and fibrous. A woman fans flies from her stall and smiles at you like you belong here. Everywhere, color and kindness. A man passes with a guitar slung over his shoulder. A tricycle splashes through a puddle. Grandmothers sit in plastic chairs, fanning themselves, gossiping softly like leaves brushing together. You feel as though the whole country has agreed to keep its heart open. From the lowlands, you travel into the mountains. The road climbs steadily, and the air begins to shift, cooler now, scented with pine and distant rain. You pass Ifugao rice terraces carved into the hills like green stairways to the sky. Built by hand, kept by generations, they rise and fall with the contour of the earth. You stand at the edge of one and feel small in the best possible way. A farmer walks barefoot through the muddy water, planting with care. There is no machine, no rush, only hands and soil and patience. The sun breaks through the clouds, and everything gleams. In a nearby village, woodcarvers work in silence. Their hands move without hesitation. Patterns emerge from the grain, as if they've always been there. The scent of the forest clings to the carved beams and woven baskets stacked neatly at their feet. A young girl sweeps the path, and when she looks up, she smiles like she knows something you've forgotten. That evening, you sit by a fire. Rice steams in banana leaves. You are handed a bowl of sinigang, hot, sour, comforting. Around you, laughter. Not loud, but warm. Someone strums a guitar. A voice joins in. Another. A chorus forms without effort. No one performs. They simply sing. Morning comes with a softness that feels almost sacred. You rise before the sun crests the hills and follow the curve of a river that threads through the valley like silver thread. Mist clings to the surface, and every step along the bank feels like a secret being whispered into the air. A boy leads a water buffalo into the stream. He laughs as it splashes, and the sound echoes gently between the trees. You continue your journey south, crossing islands by ferry, stepping from one world into another again and again. Each island has its own rhythm, its own dialect, its own sky. Yet the welcome remains unchanged. Open palms, open doors, a meal always ready. In Bohol, you sit beneath the strange beauty of the chocolate hills, their round silhouettes rolling across the landscape like something imagined in a dream. At sunset, they glow with the softness of earth and dusk. Below them, the tarsier blinks at you with wide, silent eyes, ancient, tiny, watchful. On another island, you float down the Lobok River, its water green and slow, winding past palms and bamboo houses. A man on the shore waves. A girl swings from a rope and plunges into the river with a joyful splash. The boat glides forward. You let your fingers skim the surface, cool and gentle. In Cebu, you explore churches built of coral stone, centuries old, weathered by storm and sun. Candles flicker in quiet corners. You smell wax and ash and flowers. A woman kneels in prayer, her rosary clutched tightly, her lips moving softly. Faith here is not loud. It is woven into the air like light through palm fronds. Outside, a street vendor calls out, offering grilled corn, skewers of pork, banana Q. The smoke rises in ribbons. You eat with your hands, as others do. You sit on a low stool, beside strangers who do not remain strangers for long. Someone offers you calamansi juice, sweet and sharp. You toast with smiles. Further down the coast, you come to the sea again. The beaches here are wide and white, the water impossibly blue. You walk the shoreline with the waves lapping at your ankles. Fishermen haul in their catch, milkfish, squid, reef fish, and sort them in silence. The tide pulls gently. A boat is being built nearby, its ribs stretched in the sun like the bones of a sleeping whale. You run your hand along the wood. It is warm, alive. A child runs past, flying a kite made of plastic and bamboo. It flutters high, dancing against the sky. His laughter fills the beach. You smile without meaning to. There is a kind of freedom here that asks for nothing. It simply is. Later, you snorkel in a coral reef. Beneath the surface, the world explodes in color. Parrotfish, clownfish, sea turtles, corals shaped like fingers and fans and stars. You wake to the scent of rain on hot stone. It hasn't begun yet, the rain, but it's coming. The wind shifts, the left fades slightly. You're on a small island now, far from the cities. The kind of place where motorbikes hum slowly along dirt roads, where mango trees lean over fences, and where time moves sideways. You sit under a nipa roof as the first drops begin, soft, scattered, tapping on leaves, rooftops, puddles. The world doesn't stop, it simply hushes. People wait out the storm with patience and jokes. Someone brews coffee over a small flame. You are handed a cup. It tastes of roasted rice and sugar and earth. You sip slowly, watching as chickens scatter and children squeal, dancing barefoot in the gathering rain. The downpour comes, heavy and full. The air is alive with a percussion, a baptism. You stand at the edge of the shelter and let your hands catch it. It is warm, and in it you feel something lift from you, a heaviness you didn't know you were carrying. It slides away like mud down a riverbank. Later, the sky clears, the puddles glisten, the trees are greener, the laughter louder. A rainbow appears above the sea like a quiet promise. You travel inland once more to Mindanao, an island woven from many stories. Here you find hills of corn and coconut, rivers wide and red with soil, and cities filled with life and layers. You hear Maranao, Maguindanaon, Cebuano, and Chavacano, each voice like a thread tying the land into something vast and human. In a market, you watch a man weave cloth on a wooden loom, each movement precise and rhythmic. The patterns speak of tribe and time, of mountains and moons. Nearby, a woman shapes brass into bells that chime with lightness when struck. She tells you through her smile, not her words, that beauty here is made with hands and stories. You eat piaparan, sati, pastil, foods you cannot name at first, but which your body understands. Spiced, wrapped, grilled, shared. A bowl is placed in front of you before you ask. You are fed. You are welcomed. In the hills of Bukidnon, you walk through fields of pineapples stretching to the horizon. The workers wave. A boy hands you a fruit, cut fresh, its juice dripping down your chin. The sweetness stays with you, and as the day ends, you attend a small-town fiesta. Lanterns swing overhead, a marching band passes, fireworks pop like laughter in the sky. People dance barefoot on packed earth. Elderly women clap along. Teenagers flirt shyly beneath streamers of green and yellow. You stand at the edge of the crowd and are pulled in, by a hand, by a smile, by joy. The night air is soft on your skin. Music echoes in the streets. Somewhere, someone sings a folk song. You don't know the words, but you hum along. And later, as the light, you fall asleep with salt on your skin and something beautiful tucked beneath your ribs. Your final days pass slowly. Not because time has changed, but because you have. You've learned to walk without haste, to listen without interrupting, to see without needing to name. You wake before the sun and sit on a wooden bench outside a home that is not yours, but where you are always welcome. The child leans against your leg, chewing sugar cane. An old man tells a story you only half understand, and yet you understand all of it. You visit a classroom where students recite poems in English, Tagalog, and their native tongues. Their voices are full of light. They speak of rivers and mountains, of mothers and dreams. One girl recites a line that stays with you. I come from where the sky is low enough to touch. You walk through a mangrove forest, the path raised just above the mud and roots. Crabs scatter. Egrets lift into the air like folded prayers. The silence here is alive, a different kind of song. You sit at the end of the boardwalk, where the trees open onto sea, and breathe. And then, the sea again. You return to where you began. A beach, a breeze, a sky painted with the softest blues and pinks. You watch a small boat push out past the reef. The water is glass. A boy paddles past on a makeshift raft, humming to himself. In the distance, the silhouette of another island calls. The Philippines does not end. It continues, like the tide, like the wind. You sit in the sand and write nothing. There are no conclusions here, only layers, only echoes. And as the sun sinks low, you begin to understand what this place is made of. Not just of islands, or languages, or volcanoes and rain, but of kindness passed between strangers, of food cooked with memory, of hands offered freely, of homes built on bamboo, and songs carried across oceans. You stand, barefoot again, and walk into the water one last time. It is warm, familiar, and just as the light fades from the day, a child waves goodbye from the shore. You wave back, hand on heart. If you enjoyed this quiet journey, consider subscribing to the channel for more calm explorations of the world. Leave a comment if you have thoughts, suggestions, or a country you'd love us to visit next. And if this